Hi, welcome to another video on my walking robot Mirft2 based on the fischertechnik TXT controller. Last time I added a switch and a lamp, and the problem is that the lamp didn't want to burn. So what is a better idea than to test the lamp with ROBOPro? So I am going to reposition the robot, and I notice at the same time that once again this leg is out of its correct position. But the lamp is here. So what I'm going to do is run a ROBOPro and I do that on screen, but it says it can't connect, which is strange. So I check using USB wireless, yes, and then it turns out that I need to change the IP address, which I do now. I press test and now it runs, and then the point is where is I need to take care of this wire, but I can control it. So for now there's no problem. It only goes on about this wire which is connected to motor 3. So all I have to do now, I don't even have to lift it. I say alright, motor 3, and go. Oh, you see very brightly motor 3 is running. Then what happens when I change it to output 5, output 6? Output 5 is on, brightly lit, alright. Dimmed, output 6 does nothing, output 5 does everything, and motor 3 completely done does everything too. And clockwise is wrong, counterclockwise is right. This means that either motor 3 or output 5 is the way to go, which is very good. And they are connected in the right way. So this means that I have to check my algorithm to have this motor run. Well, the lamp which is connected to the motor. Then I can also check on this switch on input 1. So I press the switch and input 1 is accurately shown as being pressed. So that's alright. Would it have been the other way? It would have shown pressed while it was not pressed. So this is the correct connection. Next thing to do is checking on my Python on both the firmware, the community firmware, and the standard firmware, because it turns out if you follow the video on my Mirft2 and on the discovery, you find out that on the discovery some things have changed. Well, that turns out indeed to be a difference between Python 3.5 and 2.7. However, that can be solved. So I need to check on that. But first, I'm glad that this hardware works, so on to some coding. So with both the switch and the lamp checked on any wiring or physical problems, which there weren't, the question is, of course, let's test if everything works as should. And then I run this one. And yes, I'm using the community firmware right now. So let's check. Right, lamp doesn't burn. So let's go to the code. And that should be output 5. That is correct. It does work as motor as well. Text motor 3. So I could do it like this. But this should work. So how did I do it anyway? Then we have something called lamp, set level 512. And as I've just noticed, the code doesn't do. So let's change this in favor of motor. So I make this motor 3. This is one thing. Then I go here. I will have to use this one as well. However, if I look at how the motors work in general, do they work in general anyway? And here they work with set distance, etc. On the other hand, I have here set speed, motor set speed. So that is what I'm going to do. No, not this one, because I need this in case that I go back to output. So in this case I say lamp dot set speed. What is going on? Lamp dot set speed, and I go again for half the speed, which should be okay. Now let's see how this works. If it works, always a big if, unfortunately. Wait. The point is, I would have to press. I would have to press from the switch, of course. So once again, I press the switch. but the lamp doesn't do a thing again. So although the wiring is okay, according to ROBOPro everything tests okay, I am doing something wrong. And then of course the big question is, what am I doing wrong? Which is a very good question. Now another thing is the hassle between Python 2 and Python 3. This is the print command from Python 2, and on the discovery I experienced issues with suddenly having to use Python 3. Now the point is that I received feedback from the ROBOPro developer, and he says, well, this runs in Python 2 while just Python runs Python 3. Alright, now I can keep using this, but he says it would be easy to say use print with brackets all the time. So in order to do that, he suggests to, not here, let's see if this works. Yes, this works. To use this line as first line, and then use the brackets in each case. And I have used quite a few prints, so it can be a little bit of a tedious job. And let's see, with these two now done, how does the robot respond? Very curious. Ah, right. And it immediately says, alright, this is the wrong syntax now. So I do have to change this. That was a very clear situation. The question is though, what should I use? Should I use Python 3 or Python 2? Well, Python 3 seems to have a lot of improvements, but then I will have to change it on the original firmware as well, and I am a little hesitant to do things twice or 3 times. But let me first do this, and like last time, when I thought I had done everything, I missed things anyway, like here 4 times to do it. So and yes, I don't really like to do things this way, and that has to be the other one. And this is where you have to pay extra attention, because the bracket has to go here. not at the end of the line. And this is wrong. And this is right. So never go automatic in cases like this. And here it is the other end of the story again. And here you can go like automatic. So like this, it goes on and on. Now another problem I had the other day with my robot discovery is that I suddenly found that for some reason I got no output. And of course this is not with the discovery, this is with this Mirft2. Well, one error can be logical, 2 errors very unlikely. So I take another look at the code and I think, okay, I put the bracket here. What if I put the bracket here, because brackets and then comma and then value. Lo and behold, that works. So I put all brackets I've put here put at the end of the line. So this should solve it. And yes, it does. Now I get at least some results. Which also means that I now have to press the switch in order to get some more results, meaning the lamp, which doesn't happen, still doesn't happen. Also you can read it here, because if I go here to the lamp, if sensor front state is 1, well, sensor front state is still input 1 to which it is connected, so that still does not function, or not that well anyway. When do I have to do that? Well, quite soon, because here it needs to be done. And another thing is realizing that I press it just once. So what if I press it multiple times? Let's do that. Go back here. And I press it several times. No, not really. Once again. None whatsoever. So this is not quite alright. Am I doing something wrong? Well, I know that when I had these, when I had these still connected to this one, it didn't always work either. So probably I am reasoning wrong somehow. But where? That's a good question. A very big question. Thing now is I have to go to the other firmware to check and see if that works there as well. So printing here works. Now see for the other one. Hopefully that works in the same way, so let's go up and see. And then I of course mean this one. Getting things correct is very important. So, with the original firmware, I am back at Android, and let's check how I actually run it here. Well, I run it using run Python, so that would be according to the developer Python 2, and then I will have to include the same instruction here. So and I can't copy paste in this case. No, this is wrong. And this makes typing a bit awkward. So this should do it, but then yeah, I will have to do the same thing here. And that is not very nice, because it is typing on this tablet is, if you've seen my previous videos on this, not really nice to do. But it has to happen, because otherwise I will get all sorts of troubles, and I will show you about that, because now I will get quite a few errors. So for security I will leave the robot and I will press enter, and yes, it says exactly where I did using the community firmware, exactly the same error. So yes, I will have to do that on every instance. And unfortunately I can't open a second terminal in here, so each time this will be not very nice. And this is not good. This is better. And then you can of course check several things at the same time while you're at the same position, which kind of shortens the whole thing. But like this, and do I skip now something? Yes, here and here. And so on and so on. So I I'll do this, and in the next segment I will check. I have changed the code, and I noticed when I wanted to put in the lamp that I already have an LED, and it was on output 8, which was from a previous experiment, so I changed it to output 5. And another thing that I noticed, that I had set level for the LED outside any if statement, so this should work anyway, which is an idea for the community firmware to do as well. So with all this set, let's try to run it and see if anything actually works. Print write and quit and test things. So I will lift it again and say okay, do it. Oh really? I forgot something apparently. Where did I miss it? Here I missed it. I missed something. So now I hope I didn't miss anything anymore. So let's do it. Second attempt. And alright. Let me show you. And pay attention to this position. So once again, you heard the sound the first time and now you didn't, so that's still something that is not entirely correct, but at least the lamp works. This has not been implemented yet in this one. Not as an if statement. So that is something else. But since this lamp works, there must be something, since it did not work with the commuter firmware, that I'm doing something wrong there. So a very short look into the code again. What did it do wrong? Am I doing wrong something anyway? No, because here I have a text output 5, so that is quite correct. And here I set level 512, which is correct as well. So when I take it outside of the if loop in the community firmware, it should work, no doubt. Which raises the question, of course, if I press this switch, why is it recognized? That said, if I press these two switches, they are not always recognized either. And when you take this and you put it exactly the other way, then you have in the middle green and in the and the other one is red, and that is exactly the way this is set. So, and this I tested using ROBOPro, which was correct, which means that these two are correct. Now I don't have any more of these counter inputs, but this should work anyway. And as I mentioned at the very start of this video, this I have apparently not fixed. Well, now it is fixed, but it wasn't at the start of the video, which is not correct. So I still have to find another solution for it, apart from getting all these in-betweens correct. So that did not help. And it is remarkable also that it is always this part, the right side, that goes wrong, not this side. Very remarkable. Right, with that I want to thank you for watching. If you like this video, please consider subscribing if you haven't done so. Otherwise, Twitter and Instagram are there as well. What did I do? Check this LED lamp actually. Check this switch on the via ROBOPro, and fix a code thing with respect to printing. I will have to fix that on the my discovery as well. And another thing is, of course, getting the code on here. So on the which is, because this is running on this, it is just another SSH connection, but I want to have them the same, and they are not right now. And this is going to be continued, obviously. Bye bye.